Hello everybody and welcome back to Open Source Tonight. Today folks, let's get back into Python yet again. Alright, so let's set this all up. So what we're going to do, we're going to go from Flask, import, okay, Flask. See? Oh, that should be a lowercase f right there. Good to go. All right, so let's create our app. So I'm just going to call it our app. You could call it whatever you want. And then I'm going to go Flask. And then we're going to pass in the name of our script. So underscore, underscore, name, underscore. I believe this actually can be any text, I think. It just needs to be a valid like name for the specific instance, I think, of Flask. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, but the documentation says to do this. So we're just going to do this. That's what I've done for years and it works. We're going to go ahead and we're going to create a route. So app, or whatever you called it, put the @ sign in front of that like this. That's called a decorator, but we really don't have to think about this right now. What we're going to do is we're going to go .route, and I'm going to call my first route just a slash. So this is just, if they don't put anything in, they just go to the home page, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a function definition right here under it, which is what you got to do next. And I'm going to just call mine index, right? Pass in no arguments, and just like before. And then what we want the user to see, we just return it. So I'm going to just return testing 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, why don't we, there we go. So if you run this right now, which we can, okay, if I run this, oh, here it is. There we go. If I run this, you see it just immediately exits. That's because we actually have to start the app. So I'm going to do app run, and I would suggest you pass debug true to it. We'll talk about what that does in a second. I'm going to run it, and now you can see it's running. Now, this right here, we're in a development server. You don't really want to use this in production. I usually just would use something like Nginx. That's that kind of stuff, and let it handle it for you. Anyway, but this is got debug mode on, as you can see here, and this will allow us to do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to actually copy this link. Oh, okay, we'll just type it in the old-fashioned way. So if we go 127.0.1, and there it is. We have our text, and that's all it got. So it makes it really, let me get rid of this, there we go. But it makes it really easy for us to build a web application. And once it's in Python, we can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. So let's talk about something we can do. So we can do just a really simple GET request, which is what you just seen there. But I actually want to show you what the debug thing is real quick, because this is going to come in handy. So I'm going to intentionally break this. And so I'm going to, actually we could leave the return. Let's leave the return, because normally you'd have one. Let's say that I'm going to do something just completely that doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to set 0 to 1. Yeah, this is not going to work. And, oh, well, it doesn't even let me get that far. Python, it doesn't. Okay. So we need an error that's a little less intense. So let me do, it's funny, it's hard to break stuff when you're actually trying to demo it. Maybe 1, 2, 3 equal. I don't know. This is probably still just going to go a regular syntax error. Probably have to try something other than numbers. Oh, nope. Apparently that did it. Now that's not going to work. Well, actually, no, I guess it would, because that would return true. Okay, well, let's just try it, because I'm trying to show you the debugger didn't break. Okay. How can I break something? Oof, okay. I know, round, here we go. Let's round 5.6, but we're going to make it a string. Finally, a type error. Thank you. Okay, anyway, it took me a minute, but we got there. So this will pop up, but if I'm doing this without debug equals true, so we'll just set it to false. Internal server error is all we get, which, yeah, that tells you there's a problem. And that's what your user in the real world would get. And that's what you want, because this could have user-sensitive data and stuff. It could be a big deal. But right now, I'm trying to build something, and I'm going to have a lot of bugs that I need to catch. So if I turn that back on and I run it again, well, I may have to restart it. Hold on. So we're going to just restart this. And now, again, we're back with this nice detailed information. Again, this stuff down here will literally expose user data. And so that could be a bit of an issue. Additionally, if you actually punch in a code that they give you in the debugger up here, well, actually, I didn't have to go that far. There was one right here, debugger pin right here. You can use that to actually run Python code. I've actually never done that, but you apparently can. But yeah, so we got an error. But like I said, if we fix this and we reload, we're back. See? So it allows us to build some really simple stuff. So we could do a bunch of things. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about templates, which is something you're going to want to use. And this is going to get somewhat technical because you're going to need to know some HTML on top of this. So I'm going to just call this home.html. Now we're going over the really bare bone basics. I'm sure people that know Flask as well as I do, and even better, is going to sit there and say, well, you could use like partial templates and stuff to do this easier. And you could, but I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to show you the basics. So I'm going to just go hello world. And let's actually make a form here. And I'm going to use that in a minute. So actually we'll make a form post, and I'm going to just go /post test. Inside of here, we're going to put a couple items. I'm going to put a label, and we're just going to say your name. All right, I'm going to break lines because if I don't, it's going to look ugly. Usually you do that with CSS these days, but I'm in a hurry and this is quicker. So anyway, so we're going to do phone. Okay. And then we'll do another input. And if you do input tel and hit enter, it will automatically do the telephone. So I'm going to put phone for this and name for this under name. And we can use that later to pull that back out. And then the only thing we got left that we're going to need is we're going to need a submit button. So I'm going to go button, type, submit, and then I'm going to just say submit is what the user will actually see to. You could put whatever text you want there. So if I actually come over here and we go and we get the render template call here, let's create a new page. We're going to call it test. Okay. And there we go. And we're going to return render template. And then we're going to just use our file home.html. Now, it needs to be in this templates folder with that exact casing and everything. Now, we also need this app route up here, but it needs to be different. So I'm going to do /test. And now if I go to /test because it auto reloads, we have our form right here. So, well, I didn't mean to make it that big. So I could put in some stuff here, but if I actually hit submit, we just get an error because it's trying to go somewhere that doesn't exist yet. And even once that thing exists, we still need to process the data. So let's go process the data. So how do we process the data? Well, if we look at the documentation here, which this has got great documentation, by the way, we can come down here and look at accessing our data. And we're going to need to set a method. So let's do that. So I'm going to say methods. This is a list, and we're going to say it has to be a post. That needs to be capitalized like that. And now what we're going to do, because we have a post, we can actually use that. Once I import request from up here, I might add. So we'll do that. But I can actually now do request.form, and then I can get the data out of it. So let's try that. I'm going to... Oh, actually, I need to change the name because it is going to post test. So we're going to go post test. And I'm actually going to just come up here. And I'm going to make a home, even though it's not actually going to be home. We'll just call it /home. Oh, hold on. Okay. And we're going to return render template again. Home.html. This one down here, we're not going to return that. We will just return a value based on what the form gives us. For the record, you normally would want to actually escape this for safety reasons too, but I'm not going to do that. So, but we'll go ahead and we'll go request.form, and then I can come in here. It's a dictionary, and I can come in here and I can just give it my name. So I'm going to go like that, plus, and then I'm going to do phone. Okay. Now, this is going to look kind of ugly, but it will work. I'm going to just put a line break here real quick, or a HTML break, and there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do an app right up here, and this will be /test. Okay. And there we go. So we have everything set up. So let's refresh. Oh, our code, if you get an error, sometimes it will die on like that. Will die like that, but it ain't now. So let's put in my name, Vincent, and then I'll put in my phone number, 555-555-555-555. Hit submit, and look, we did it. The server was given that data, and then we were able to turn around and send it right back to the user. Now, again, you'd want to escape this. So we'll talk about that real quick. I'm not going to show you everything Flask can do because I'm trying to kind of just give you a general idea of some of the cool stuff you can do. So there is, I want to say, is it in Flask? I think you actually use the escaping outside of it. So you can, I know you can do escaping in the templates. And actually, you know what? Let's just do another template. So we're going to say data.html, and I'm going to show you how to populate a template with data. Because normally we want something other than static web pages for a web app, right? So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get rid of this. And now I'm going to go ahead and make a label. We're going to say name, colon, and I'm going to do these funny little things. And I'm going to put in name here. Next, I'm going to do, again, we're going to do some breaks. We're going to do phone here. And I'm going to do phone here. Now, this will be interesting. So as you can see, we can do some interesting stuff here. But I'm going to show you how to do escapes in a second. So let's see here. The way we do escapes, it uses a specific template engine, which we can get the documentation for here. Here it is. And if we come down here, here it is, filters. This is what we want is through filters. So let's see. I am looking for, here it is, safe. Okay. So do I actually number safe, string safe? Let's see. Strip tags. This is what I want. So I believe I can come in here, if I remember this correctly, and I can say strip tags. Okay. I believe that's what we can do. All right. We're going to try it. It's honestly been a while since I've dealt with this, so we'll see. But now I'm going to come back here, and we're going to render our template instead. So I'm going to go return render template again. And I'm going to go data.html. Next, I'm going to pass in some names. So I'm going to go name, no, not name error, name equals, and in my case, it's going to be request.form. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to do a second one, and the second one is going to be phone equals request.form, and I'm going to do phone. Also, just while we're doing this, there is another tip I'm going to give you. Might want to make that text a little bigger too. I'm going to give you a tip though. If I do this, look at that. Look how much cleaner that is. So this will actually work. I can just indent after my comma like that, and it will work. Python will accept that. So that makes it more user readable. Who doesn't like that? Anyway, but we have passed in our variables that we'll be able to access over here. So if I refresh this, oh, well, oh, I know why. We stopped running it, didn't we? Run. That's my bad. Resubmit, so we'll do a resend. What's its problem? Yeah, so that's right on how to render that. Weird. What is... Okay, let me read it carefully here. Template syntax expected token... Oh, hold on a minute. I believe I needed to do... Yeah, I needed to do... Actually, I think it's the other way around, though. Is I'm going to pass it in like that. So phone and name like that. I believe that's right. I'm doing this from memory. That's why we check the documentation. Yeah, that looks right. Resend. There it is. So now it is good to go. We're safe. We're not going to have to worry about security issues on that. Now I'm going to just show you real quick. There. I think that still runs if I do that. Spin a wall. Yep. Okay. I usually don't use the VS Code. I use my terminal up here, but I'm trying to show you this way because it's all more integrated. All right. Anyway, so I'm going to actually intentionally get rid of this. And I'm going to let name be unescaped. And what that means is that if I put something in the form, even if it's something that the browser will run as a tag, this is going to be left alone. So let's go back to /test, and I'm going to put in, watch this, an H2. So this is going to make a heading tag. And again, this is going to actually run now. Submit. Oh, I haven't restarted it. That's my bad. So if I run this again, well, hold on a minute. Does it not need me to escape it for it? Is it doing it already for me? I thought I had to escape it manually. It's been a long time since I've used this template engine in this level of detail, because I used to be really into Flask and development on that, and I've kind of moved on to other things. Anyway, okay, apparently we do not actually have to manually strip tags because it does it for us. So, I see. So I think, let me see if strip tags does what I think it does. If resend. So I see what it does. It actually, okay, this is interesting. So what it's doing is it's actually, I guess it makes sense with the name, strip tags is going to actually strip my tags. And if I don't do that, what it's going to do is it's just going to escape them. So there is a distinction in that. And you think I would have thought of that. So if I run this again, there we go. But see, if we actually look at the source, you can see these right here is escaping my tag. So it's going to show it that text rather than run it. Cool, huh? Anyway, so yeah, we're definitely getting long-winded here. Let me close this. What else can we do that you might want to do? I mean, again, we've got the ability to receive and send data. We can render templates. This is pretty much the essentials. So what we'll probably do in the next video, I'm going to show you actually how to run this on a web server. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Open Source Tonight and found it interesting and informative. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. And action.